5 main ways that you can stay safe during the national security alert. Don't go alone.
National security alert? What? A summary of terrorism threat in the United States. In the coming months, we expect the threat environment to become more dynamic as several high-profile events could be exploited to justify acts of violence against a range of possible targets. These targets could include public gatherings, faith-based institutions, schools, racial and religious minorities, government facilities and personnel, U.S. critical infrastructures, the media, and perceived ideological opponents. Y'all would rather burn this joker down than admit Obama was a really good president and Trump was garbage. Please do not act like you didn't know what pot Trump was stirring. Please don't. You knew. You knew.
Here are 5 ways that you can stay safe during the national security alert. Don't go alone anywhere. Always have a buddy. Don't hang out with anybody that you don't know. And if you do, message somebody that you trust with a description of yourself, the person you're hanging out with, and the location that you will be. 2. Take your political stickers off your vehicles, your flags off your house, and do not wear political stated shirts. They are literally targets that you are placing on your back, your vehicle, and your home. 3. Do not reveal any personal information online. A lot of these extremists are taking information that have been freely given to the public via media. Do not reveal where you live. Do not reveal your legal name. You can still be an open book without endangering yourself. 4. Unfortunately, we've already seen that people are targeting people who are grocery shopping. If you can help it, shop online. And 5. If you see anything suspicious, report them. You may save someone's life.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for
Good
joining.
evening, good evening.
Get into it with Taz.
Here we are, Wednesday, fun day.
To add on to that, threats and attacks. Well, we know attacks have already started, but additional threats have popped up. Over the past week and weekend, there were a couple of threats that popped up on different social media platforms. And the social media platforms did not remove the post, whether it was a video or typed out post, whatever. And there was even one gentleman who included his personal cell phone number in the video and was recruiting people to help with said attacks. I know I myself turned it over to the authorities. So, but we have a jam-packed show for y'all today. Thank you to everyone who sent videos and articles. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. Evidently, there have been a lot of bombshells that not only happened over the weekend, but today specifically. So we're going to try to do our best to touch on everything.
We definitely try.
Yes, some things, I know me personally, I'm just going to let the video or the article speak for itself, because some things, when I peruse them, I'm like, I don't have anything to add. But let's start here, because this is a number one rule breaker. This is something you should never do to somebody. Pay close attention.
I am so glad I had other things to post and had not yet congratulated Rebel Wilson on coming out, because it turns out she was outed. Kate Dowick is an Australian journalist, and she tweeted this. So apparently it wasn't Rebel Wilson's choice to come out. The Sydney Morning Herald and The Age have admitted to giving her a heads up 2 days in advance that they were going to out her. What's worse, openly gay men at the Sydney Morning Herald were involved in this. For people asking of confirmation who said this wasn't Rebel Wilson's choice, the Sydney Morning Herald admits it in the link attached to my initial tweet, screenshot also here. As Rebel Wilson knows, we do not live in a perfect world. So it was an abundance of caution and respect that this media outlet emailed Rebel Wilson's representatives on Thursday morning, giving her 2 days to comment on her new relationship with another woman, LA leisure wear designer Ramona Agruma, before publishing a single word. So you threatened to out her if she didn't out herself, and then applauded yourselves for it. I don't even want to show her coming out Instagram post now. I'm not Rebel Wilson's biggest fan, but that is never okay. 2 days is not respectful, that's blackmail. And I can't imagine how scary it must have been getting that message from her rep. anyone who was involved in this should be fired immediately. Happy fucking Pride Month.
Privacy is important. Not going the route of letting somebody do something, whether they think it's a slow news day or, hey, I got something hot that I want to throw out there because nobody else has yet. Whether you're a celebrity, athlete, whatever you do out there in society, there are things that people like private. They're human beings. There's a time and a place where people feel comfortable to do what they want to do.
And especially since I know some people watching aren't old enough to recall this, but there was a period of time that I lived through, at least in the 80s, that is now repeating itself. People within the LGBTQIA plus community are literally being targeted. Let us not forget the U-Haul full of white supremacists that were going to a Pride event that fortunately someone was looking out and saw something suspicious and reported it, and that attempt was thwarted. Another group of white supremacists went into a library because they have a program where drag queens come in and read to kids. It's a really good, fun time. It got so bad, this drag queen had to have their significant others sneak in boy-looking clothes so that they could change clothes and sneak out of the library. This is not cute. You are not to out anybody's business, period. And all of this new climate of trying to have gotcha moments for clicks, likes, and followers is utterly disgusting.
Exactly.
And speaking of the whole U-Haul incident, I thought all these people were hashtag back the blue. Look what they're doing now.
So the police who arrested members of the group called the Patriot Front are being harassed. All because they did their job in arresting terrorists. I dare somebody to come in my comment section defending this.
And, because, why not? Here we have the listing, oopsie daisy, of those that decided, oops, sorry, I'm moving stuff around so I can blow this up for you guys, to be asshats and do what they did. Now I will say, shout out, one of these gentlemen was living with his mother. Mama Bear kicked him out, as she should. As she freaking should. She found out what he was up to and kicked him out of the house.
Right.
I don't know where he's going to go now.
Got out of the basement.
But hey, newspapers, it's just so fine and dandy and great for subscriptions, right? That you're outing people.
Right.
Remember the 2 videos that we started off with, warning you of how to stay safe, that more attacks were planning to come. There was a march for peace and an anti-violence march. I want you to listen to this account of what happened.
We fight every day for our
Yeah, that's a civil violation at best, and it's not a police matter. It's a certain call. Yeah, all right. 24 right? 1342.
She nice to budge my game to take her. I don't know if she's like preoccupied doing anything.
Excuse me, sir, do you have any comments? Could you tell me what you did in this protest? Were you protesting? Sir, were you protesting peacefully? Watch out behind you! Watch out behind you! Jesus fucking Christ. Fucking retard. So you weren't doing anything illegal, sir? Can you tell me why they're arresting you?
Back up, make way! Somebody go to jail!
Boo! You stop!
Back up.
Do you have any comments, sir?
Back up.
Yeah, I couldn't hear something.
Now, what he did, he threw something in the crowd. Then he had a gun that he was going to, you know. They were in Washington, D.C. at the mall area, which is completely open space. There's no place to hide behind anything. The only thing some people had to hide behind were porta potties. And if you know anything about firearms, porta potties really aren't the best protection against a bullet. I saw one video. A young lady was there. Years ago, her brother was gunned down. And as she recanted what happened and as she was running for shelter and hoping she would make it back to her husband and child, I couldn't help but imagine if the fear that she was feeling right then was the same fear that her brother had in his last moments. And it's sad that these gun nuts, because I'm not going to call them gun enthusiasts, are so worried about their rights being infringed upon, which no one is asking for, but they're consistently trying to infringe upon and terrorize other people. The irony.
I mean, they're literally, their motto is in guns we trust, because guns are their god, or that's the one area that they think is untouchable when it comes to whatever it is they're thinking. And it's a state of the NRA. It's a state of a lot of that area of the right that puts guns over the living, over anything of sound mind. I mean, look at issues just trying to get people to come to the table to talk about reform, not going door to door taking your guns. Reform. I mean, starting somewhere. Normally, when you would think that, and we've seen this in other countries, where there's something of a mass shooting, regardless the numbers. With anybody, you want to get to the bottom of it. You do an investigation, you do research. Hey, what can we do better? That is normal activity, but to refuse literally to come to the table, and I know recently they, just now saying that, oh, they're willing to take a baby step, which I still want to know what's going into that, because I can imagine it's only a baby step. Why aren't we? I mean, I know a lot of us do. Once again, the popular opinion out there in society is that the majority agrees with some form of reform, some form of looking at our background checks, looking at why are certain weapons out there. Like I said, you don't hunt with an AR that destroys your meat. You don't do certain things with ARs. That is not home defense. That is something that is going to have sprayed of multiple rounds. For what? When do you need that? These things could easily, in the reasonable world, be something that people would want to come to the table and say, okay, well, we're not talking about taking your pistols from your homes, but we're looking at areas that are rampant when it comes to mass shootings. Why is an 18-year-old able to do this, but yet we're concerned they're going to go buy a pack of cigarettes? So we're going to raise that. Yeah, I didn't know anyone that ran into a school with lighted cigarettes to burn people's arms or anything.
Yeah, and these states are getting ridiculous. Because y'all take a look.
And don't forget about old Teddy.
Oh,
what an idea! The one door.
Oh,
the one door in and out. Are you
Mike
kidding me?
Dewan of Ohio told because I refuse to call him by his middle name, Raphael Cruz's and Abbott's and was like, "Here, hold my beer. Check this out."
Do you know?
Y'all, I'm just reading the Ohio Revised Code because that's what I do in my spare time. And there is actually a law in Ohio that is a misdemeanor, a minor misdemeanor, if you fail to aid a law enforcement officer in an arrest. I'm not even joking. A literal law that says that you have a duty to aid a police officer in an arrest if they ask for your help. Like, is it so?
Let me explain something to you. Any police officer in the state of Ohio, should you see me, don't ask me, because I'm gonna take the charge. I'm not helping you do nothing. But also,
I'm thinking, why would police ask a citizen anyways? That sounds like something that, I mean, when?
This is
Like, give me an example where they're overwhelmed. Who would do that? I mean,
they're supposed to be the trained ones. That would be like a surgeon coming out and go, "Look, I know I'm operating on your dad, but I need a little help." Like, no. But
hey,
also,
can somebody bring the receptionist in?
right. But also out of Ohio. They're completely out of their minds.
What's wrong with Ohio?
Yeah, this is coming from the Los Angeles Times. Ohio governor signs bill allowing armed school employees. Ohio school districts could begin arming employees as soon as this fall under a bill signed into law Monday by GOP Governor Mike DeWine. The law has enacted required up to 24 hours of training. Oh, that's enough before an employee can go armed, and up to 8 hours of annual training. Okay. The training programs must be approved by the Ohio School Safety Center, and DeWine announced he's ordering the center to require the maximum 24 hours and maximum 8 hours. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Schools can provide additional training if they wish, DeWine says. How is a school going to give you training?
That's not what teachers signed up for.
First of all, there are reports almost daily of teachers coming to school inebriated, high off of anything, putting their hands on children, yelling at children inappropriate. Now you're going to give them a gun? Kids there's already documented proof that children have as young as kindergarten have been able to unarm school resource officers of their weapons. Like, come on. There was a huge turnaround of putting armed, trained guards, and I'm using trained very loosely here, at schools all across the country. And how many mass shootings has that stopped? 0. We had one instance where the resource officer went and hid and offered no protection to the children. We've had instances where the resource officers, you know what? Let me not just say this. Let me break down what the resource officers are really doing in this video. Pay attention, y'all.
You're thinking a kid must be doing something really bad to get arrested in school. Students have been charged with assault for things like throwing a paper airplane, a baby carrot and Skittles, and drug possession for carrying a maple leaf. And when a 5-year-old with ADHD had a tantrum, they were charged with battery on a police officer, when clearly the only thing they were guilty of was being a fucking 5-year-old. And take what happened with Kira Wilmot. When she was a high school student, she tried to replicate the experiment where you set off a chemical reaction in a plastic bottle to make the cap blow off. And I'll let her and then her mother explain what happened next.
The principal and vice principal were like about 10 feet away, and when it popped, they came over and asked what was going on. I told them it was a science project, and they were just like, okay. At the end of 3rd period, they take me out and then walked me to the resource officer. He was like, this is considered a felony. I might have to arrest you for this. And then I was just handcuffed and put in the car. A trained officer of the law put my daughter in handcuffs, put her in the back of a police car, and took her to the juvenile assessment center and charged her with 2 felony charges.
That is so fucking stupid. Now, I should say, the charges against Kira were later dropped, but she still had to check the box on her college application asking, have you been arrested? She was technically lucky in that at least she had press coverage of her ridiculous arrest that she could direct the college to. But the fact is, kids with criminal records can have a much harder time getting jobs, scholarships, and a host of other benefits and opportunities. And while it's true that you can apply to have your juvenile record sealed, there is no guarantee that that will happen.
The child can still be left with a criminal record?
Well, it'll still show an arrest on their rap sheet. Yes, absolutely. They've been arrested. I mean, if the case comes to us, they've been arrested, whether they were put in handcuffs and brought to us or just given a slip of paper by the police. They've been arrested.
And is that fair?
Well,
1 minute later.
I don't think it's fair.
Wow, that was a long pause. And it's not a great sign that a chief probation officer is responding to the question, is the justice system fair? At least she is acknowledging there that the system has a significant problem.
No student that's attending our campus is getting a criminal record because of something we've done. We don't focus on arresting or sending kids away. That's completely counter to what an educator should do.
But that is what's happening.
That is not happening in my school district.
In a single school year, 283 kids in your district were referred to police.
Okay.
So it is happening.
Kids are cited on our campuses sometimes, yes.
And do you know that this can give them a criminal record?
I know what happens when I issue my own consequences. I don't know what happens when police issue their consequences.
So you have no idea that these kids are getting criminal records?
I wouldn't know that one way or the other.
But don't you head discipline for the district?
And I take care of discipline for the district. If consequences go beyond that into the legal realm, that's not our purview, that's not our business.
Holy shit, that is selective. Not your business? Oh no, my good bitch. That is very much your business.
So that's what resource officers are doing. Not preventing mass shootings, not preventing sexual assaults, not preventing bullying, just targeting, as you already know, predominantly marginalized students to continue the school to prison pipeline. And you just heard the head of disciplinary action of one district sat there lying through his teeth. Well, I don't know. They get reports.
Right. Okay. Going to the part of, aside from the SROs, arming teachers. I know, obviously, those that are trying to push this through are probably all happy and, oh, this is great for the teachers and, oh, they're going to defend themselves. Let me speak from a security point of view where we have armed officers in our state. You have yearly qualifications. You have to meet certain scores. These scores are close to what the law enforcement has to achieve. Let me tell you from experience, most officers that are armed do not shoot at all during the year. Not for practice, not for recreation. They don't go out there saying, hey, let me keep my skills up. We have, and I know in the past even with my previous company, there's always a good percentage of officers that are armed with experience that have to reshoot because their skills can't be kept up. So I'm looking at the whole, we got teachers who went to school for education. They're there to get their planning and get the students, and you want to put now the armed area on their plate and somehow hope that when somebody bad comes in, obviously they're not knowing they're coming, so it's obviously quite alarming that they're not going to freeze up, shoot the ceilings, defend their turf, all this stuff where they have very little training. The first one is, this is not what they signed up for. Some of these teachers could definitely be ones that really don't care for guns, not even in their homes. So now you're making it to, we got to defend the fort type thinking. And I'm thinking bad things happen when you put weapons in hands of people to so-called, here, take this gun like a hot potato, take this gun and defend them. And hope that somehow, well, yeah, they shot and missed. Well, yeah, and it went through the window and caught somebody in the other room across the hall. And now they're gone.
And see, not only that, let us not forget the amount of gun-related injuries and deaths that occur in homes that have lock boxes and everything else for guns that children still get a hold of. Number one. Number two, why people are putting too much on teachers. Teachers are not there to raise your children. Those are not their
They sure
children.
don't make enough.
Yeah, and a lot of parents get upset when teachers do care enough that they go, oh, well, my kids are they don't like that. But you want me to be able to secure your children in a classroom that they, depending on the age range, probably won't be able to secure themselves in that classroom safely without me inside the classroom with them, to go outside like I'm Elliot Ness and square off with the shooter. And let's not forget, the vast majority of these school shooters are students at the school. So what's the likelihood of this teacher knowing this child and now you want them to live with that? Or let's say the teacher does secure the classroom. And because, once again, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a student, a current or former student of that school. They've been through the active shooter drills. They know how to slip and slide through there. Now you want them to shoot back and forth and increase the likelihood of your child being shot?
How about the fact of you get bad guys, which I always tell our armed officers, don't be fooled by those that are out to do bad. They didn't just pick up their weapon and it's you against them. Trust me, they're at the range. They're practicing in somebody's countryside back farm. They're shooting a gun more than people that have guns. The likelihood that you're going to outduel them, your skills are not going to hold up in a dueling match with somebody who shoots every other weekend. Think about that.
And these people, you have to realize, when you get to the point where you're putting yourself at the potential for cop assisted suicide, because that's what mass shooters are doing. They know the risk of the police taking them out. You no longer care. You no longer have any value for life. That is a different level than you being terrified of losing your life. That other person has zero hesitation because they're not worried about taking a bullet. They want that bullet.
Right. This is a one-way mission for the majority of them. I mean, they're not looking to come out.
It's worried about themselves, these kids, their co-workers, their children that might be in the school. Because I worked in a school and 2 out of 4 of my children attended that school, and at nights and at games, all 4 of my children were in that school building. Should an active shooter come in, I'm sorry, I'm in mommy mode first.
Or how
So
about
if
this?
I'm toe to toe with the shooter, I'm thinking, how can I ensure that my children stay safe? And how can I also ensure that when this is over, I'm there to console my children and not my siblings or my father having to console my children because I'm no longer there. That shooter don't care. They're not worried about going home to somebody. They're not worried about if anybody's going to get hurt because that is their soul. They understood the assignment because they wrote the assignment.
Well, how about this? For as much as we're doing for active shooter drills or active shooter seminars, if we don't come up with some reform, and we're gun owners, if we don't come up with some reform for specifically certain weapons, at least to start with, and for some form of background checks that are universal, how about this? How about it's going to start turning into not active shooter, how about active bomber, where people go into a school not to shoot it up, to blow it up? How about that?
That was their plan. Those 31 people In
That's
the
what it's going
U-Haul,
to turn into, because realistically, these active shooters, they're going in on a suicide mission, whether they're taken out or whether they get to a certain point that they're running low on ammo, they just take themselves out. That's going to start changing because there's not enough of a deterrent to say, well, let's up the ante at some point. And then you're going to get, obviously, like we see, copycat people. So you get one active bomber, turns into another active bomber. Then we start worrying about, well, what's next? Now we got to have, missile silos for schools. The solution is not turning schools into Fort Knox. You have to sit at the table and come up with what other deterrents can we come up with other than let's arm everything from drive-through windows at McDonald's to your local doctor's office. Adding weapons to society is ridiculous. The world, I'm sure, is looking on us like, what is wrong with those Yankees?
oh yeah, completely lost it. But we're going to run to the ad. We're going to come back. There will be one more video directly after the ad. And then we're going to get into, of course, we can't have a Wednesday without discussing Elon Musk, Amber Heard, January 6th, Loren Boebert, Rafael Cruz. We're going to have a little something from the Cincinnati Bengals' own Joe
and Birdman, Iceman.
So we'll see you in 2 and 2. Right now, go grab a friend, bring them over here to watch the end of this. Grab a snack, grab something to drink, grab your comfy clothes. Do something, but hurry back.
Merch time.
Amber Heard sucks. Amber Turd. Justice for Johnny. Cancel Amber. Where's the love? Probably with your career. Yeah, that sucks. I got a new follower. That's nice. You know that Johnny has a TikTok now? Oh no, really? He'll just do anything for attention, and even though I lost, I'm still the victim. Oh yeah, it was a totally biased jury. 12 million followers. See, they're just coming out for the Johnny Depp show. So how are those payments coming along? I signed up for some discount dog food commercials. That's good. So how many followers do you have now? 11! Oh, wait, 7. Who unfollowed me now? And look, another hashtag. Shut yo fish face Amber Turd. Who did that one?
I like that one. I like that one. The fish face.
Yeah, I figured in the midst of all the seriousness that we had to deal with, we needed to pick it up.
What better than to have a discussion on how easy it is to edit Aquaman 2?
Not bad.
They were like, yep, we have the next one on our list. Bring her in. We got some replacement. Pretty easy.
I saw a video where it said, in Aquaman, where Amber Heard's character is seen taking care of Aquaman, it was at this moment that you know that the whole movie is complete fiction. I laughed so hard I was choking on my coffee this morning because I'm like, yeah, she don't take care of nothing on nobody.
Yeah. And she's going to go join the lady from Mandalorian that got kicked out of Disney, and they both can boo-hoo together.
I think since she was copying I Am Chelsea Hart from the Wombland Saga on TikTok, and now Chelsea Hart has returned to TikTok channeling Amber Heard. I think eventually they're just gonna, collaborate for Wombland season 5, The Crazies. But let's start with Elon, and then we'll move into Amber, and then we'll transition from Amber into Marjorie Taylor Greene, because might as well do all the crazy at once.
And Elon is not the next man.
No, no. Never mind.
He might use X a lot, SpaceX. That's not X-Men.
Oh, I was going to say ecstasy, but let's roll the clip.
In case you haven't heard, Elon Musk says remote work is no longer acceptable, but that's not the interesting part. Yesterday, I speculated that this doesn't make any sense because Tesla workers have worked remotely for over 2 years, and Tesla is doing better than ever. So why would Elon Musk force an unpopular policy that he knows would make people want to resign? In yesterday's video, I said I suspected, but could not prove, that he was doing this to force a mass layoff without actually firing anybody. Turns out, the labor lawyer was right. Today, Mr. Musk announced that he needs to cut 10% of Tesla's workforce. That number is super important because federal law requires that if Tesla lays off this many people, they have to follow certain requirements. Those requirements take time and they cost money. Also, Tesla would have to pay unemployment for all those people, maybe even severance packages. Oh, and all the expenses from Cobra coverage. We can talk about that later. Anyway, Elon Musk is a super smart dude, and he says he has a very bad feeling about where the economy is headed. So I suspect, and now I think I can prove, that the reason he's saying that remote work is over at Tesla is because he wants people to resign. Because if everyone just resigns, he doesn't have to lay them off. And if he doesn't have to lay them off, he doesn't have to comply with the Warren Act, he doesn't have to pay unemployment, and if they get a job elsewhere, he doesn't have to pay Cobra Care. I think the lesson here is when you see someone as smart as Elon Musk doing something that looks irrational, there's probably a reason. And there's another really important reminder. No matter how well your employer is doing or how hard you work, you cannot expect loyalty from your job. The minute a company senses some trouble in the economy, you're out of there.
Okay, I got something.
Elon Musk is smart because as someone with a wealth of intellect, he is not. He is no different than Trump. He is a grifter and a liar. He is the prototype of what the music industry tries to sell to people so that you can relate to them and purchase more of their music and relate to music that's written for them by other people. All these rags to riches stories, and then you find out these people never grew up poor. No shit, Sherlock. He is a grifter. He is not smart. He knows how to use corporate welfare in order to get ahead and cheat the system. He is well versed in screwing people over. Who do you think taught Amber Heard the tricks that she's currently using?
It's the Trump University blueprint plan. But then again, hold on. Tesla is not doing well. For whatever people think, I don't care how many Teslas you see out there on the road, trust and believe that they are not doing well. The cars, I don't care how you package them and make them look. Like with any car, it's what's under the hood and what's in the software and everything else that is driving them. But we're hearing a lot more. I mean, it's getting a lot more frequent that they're in the news for things that have happened badly and wrong to the vehicles. You've spoken on it. We've spoken on it. This is not a quality vehicle out there. I don't care.
This is why I say stop saying that Elon Musk is smart, because you're buying into the lie that he perpetuated, that he's the originator and the actual founder of Tesla. He's not. He started off as an investor, no different than the people on Shark Tank. And then he boosted out forcibly the actual founders, the people who were behind the technology, the people who cared about the cars. They are constructed with shoddy craftsmanship. If you get a chance, go look at a Tesla up front and in person and see how crappy it's put together. I know someone who burned to death in a Tesla. Like, if he was so smart, stop equating net worth to intelligence. Because gosh darn it, look at the Kardashian family. First of all, the entire Kardashian family seems to share 3 damn brain cells, and look at their net worth. Net worth does not equate to intelligence.
At least Steve Jobs knew he was a marketer. He wasn't the brains inside of Apple. He was a marketer. He knew better.
He was
he
a
wasn't
marketer
gonna sit in there.
And a Star Trek fan. Because I'm sorry, as much as I do enjoy my Apple products, I am a sci-fi geek. I know that each Apple product that came into fruition under Steve Jobs came from a Star Trek episode. And if y'all think I'm lying, Google is free. Go look it up. Go watch some episodes and look at what you have sitting in your lap, sitting in your bedroom, your living room, your office, whatever. Go look.
I always thought that one day Uhuru would be sitting over here, but no.
I would so die. I would so die. But let's move on to Amber Heard, because I think y'all gonna get y'all. Okay, I gotta stop laughing. I gotta be serious. I gotta be an adult. There's gonna be 2 videos back to back, and then I'm just gonna do a snippet of the article. As always, I will tell you where to find the article. And for those of y'all that keep DMing me going, how come you don't list all the articles? I don't think you all realize that in my notes section for one show, I might have 60 articles, but may only go through one. But once again, Google is free. Oh, and Internet Explorer is going away. So I guess I got to stop telling y'all to go to Internet Explorer as well. But it was always the search engine we all love to hate. But let's roll it.
I'm looking at a transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
Something smelled like a turd.
So a source claims that a specific person is trying to make a comeback. We already know that she did her interview with NBC, but there's more that she's trying to do. Well, a source claims that the interviews are only just the beginning. And you guys already know that she's trying to file a motion to have certain testimonies, audios, and evidence sealed with the court. And I was going through the comments under the JD case when she posted that, and we have to talk because this is serious. So people were asking, what is the point of sealing these testimonies? So she responds, it seals all the testimonies and transcripts, meaning we would no longer be able to post any of them, and she can spin her lies even more to anyone who hasn't watched the trial or seen the depositions or transcripts yet. And of course you're gonna say, but the whole world already knows, we've already seen it. Just hold on. Somebody asked if the judge would actually grant that, and she responds saying, from my understanding, it's almost certain the judge will. It's interesting the transcripts and depositions she's trying to seal, and I'll talk more about that in a sec. She continues, I would assume she'd try to say having this information as public record has caused safety concerns to her, her daughter, her friends, and her family. She'll likely make the claim again about threats and argue that it would be in the best interest of the court for her safety to seal these records, especially as the case goes into appeal. Now remember the article where she's trying to have a comeback. Also remember, she's convinced she can get her career back. She gaslights everyone who disagrees with her, so doing this in her mind is like erasing the facts, out of sight, out of mind mentally. And she says she definitely has something up her sleeves, and I doubt it relates to the appeal. Regardless of whether those records are sealed, it's only to the public and not to the appeal court. They will look at every detail when examining her appeal request. My assumption is to stop the audios and depositions from circulating on the internet anymore. She will likely continue with these interviews and become even more vocal about her fight against abuse against men in power. She's hoping the more she can push the narrative of the victim and get JD supporters silenced and his evidence silenced, the higher chance she has of swaying people in her favor and becoming the face of abuse again. She says when that happens, we no longer have public access to it. And when that happens, she can now take legal action against whoever shares it. So any audios, videos, etc. on TikTok, now that have this information, would have to be removed, or she can sue the content creator. And she basically says she has nothing else left. All she has are her lies. So she's going to ride this out to become a stronger advocate for DV and SA victims and women's rights. You thought she was bad before, just wait. And she basically says pay attention to what she's trying to seal. It's testimony of her drug use, affair, losing her job due to poor acting skills, acknowledging her abusive behavior, etc. It's her last attempt to get the truth silenced. She may not have time, money, or energy to go after everyone, but at minimum, she may see it as a way to put fear in people. The only way to stop this is if Johnny Depp files a motion to have them unsealed. This woman will never stop.
Before I get into this article, Amber Heard, you probably won't see this, but in case you do, I wouldn't take shit down. You can get whatever sealed. I'm not taking it down because, as I said a few episodes back of my podcast, and I said on our show, Chris, and we broke it down. Baby girl, you don't have the money. You can't even pay your current legal team. You have one lawyer rolling with you because she's trying to redeem herself, and she is throwing herself on the sword for you. You can't sue me, okay? You can keep trying to play the victim all you want, but you cannot unring this bell. You can try to rewrite history all you want. The world, not just the United States, the world saw you. But here's an article. It's a what I call a duality article because it's coming from AOL.com and Variety. Amber Heard reveals post-trial plans and why she still loves Johnny Depp. No, she don't. In the second part of her first post-trial interview, Amber Heard opened up to NBC News' Savannah Guthrie on Today about her life after the verdict. Girl, it's been, what, a couple weeks? When she asked if she's worried about being sued again by Depp for defamation, Heard said, I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, every step that I take will present another opportunity for this sort of silencing. Cause you keep lying, girl, shut up. Guthrie brought up Depp's text message to Heard, that she would suffer total global humiliation and asked Heard if she thought that came true. Well, bitch, you humiliated yourself. I know he promised it, she said. I testified to this. I'm not a good victim. I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim. But when I testified, I asked the jury to see me as a human and hear his own words, which is a promise to do this. It feels as though he has. Let me say this because I am on air with someone who's known me for years and knows about one particular situation that I went through because he was basically side by side with me as I did it. I did have to testify in court because my abuser did legitimately try to play victim, but did not want to let go of me. So went to court on my behalf while simultaneously trying to play the victim. I didn't talk to the jury. I didn't look at anyone else. Why? They were trying to punish me for my abuser showing up to court because we weren't supposed to be around each other. But I had to show up to court. I had no choice. If I didn't show up to court, I was going to be arrested. I did not want to look at him. I did not want to be around him. I was already secretly making plans to get away from him, but unfortunately, in a Commonwealth, they actually sent us to counseling together that I had to fulfill, that if I didn't, I would be arrested. When I tell you, and Chris can confirm it, I laid so low and found ways to hide in my own home, a 1-bedroom apartment, to avoid interactions, and stayed on video chats as much as possible with people that I knew. It never dawned on me to get fancied up and gussied up and let me look over this way, let me look over that way, let me try to convince. No! Only thing I was worried about is just convincing the authorities, the people, just please let me out of this. Let me flee this person. Not, oh, he's going to ruin my reputation. My reputation never crossed my mind. I did not care. People could have thought anything about me at that time. I wanted to remain living and get away from him. That's where Amber Heard is weird. She's weird. Are you frozen? Oh, I think Chris did freeze. Well, we'll go to Marjorie Taylor Greene while we wait for Chris to come back.
January 6th defendants are being treated differently on a whole nother level. Imagine a group of men being held in jail with no idea of when they're going to go to court, no ability to bail out, no ability to see their family.
You heard what she said? She's like, can you imagine a group of men who can't pay bail and can't see their family? Well, you don't have to imagine it. America's already got the largest population of them in the world. And just so we're clear, I'm glad the people who stormed the Capitol are being held accountable, but I don't take delight in the idea of them experiencing the shitty side of America's criminal justice system. Yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, I hope you keep this exact speech ready for the next time black people in America are complaining about the exact same thing. You don't even have to change the words.
We've been doing in recent weeks is keeping a really close eye on the way Marjorie Taylor Greene has deliberately gone and created long lists of enemies for herself. Not just liberals or progressives or Democrats or independents or even moderate Republicans, but increasingly and damagingly for her, she's gone out of her way to create conflict with even people in the Trump world, other Trumpers. And we've talked about how this has led to her having catfights with people like Loren Boebert and many others. And now the consequences are finally hitting as there's this big conservative party, this big conservative event with dozens of top conservatives headlining it, and Marjorie Taylor Greene has been booted off the list in unceremonial fashion, while her former BFF and now rival Loren Boebert is given front page billing. But I want to get into why this is happening because there are a couple more reasons. Critically, Marjorie is going insane in public, so much so that even a lot of Trumpers don't want to associate with her.
But here we do have the regime, the Democrats in place right now, who are doing everything they can to take away our rights, claiming and putting it all under the label protecting our children. They aren't protecting our children. They're ruining our children's futures, taking away their freedoms and taking away our rights. So this week in Washington, pay attention and watch closely. I'll be voting no. I'm encouraging every single Republican in Washington, D.C., members of the House and members of the Senate to vote no on all of this radical Democrat gun control that has no common sense, is completely useless, and is going to hurt Americans' right to bear arms. That's our responsibility as Republicans. Shame on Democrats for more failure in Washington, D.C. And the radical left will be there. They'll be the ones fighting to take away your rights, while none of the freedom-loving Second Amendment supporters and gun owners, you guys won't be in Washington because you haven't been organized by the groups that you pay your money to be there. And that makes me unhappy. I'm sorry for that, and it needs to change. Control the entire firearm industry, and then they want to reduce your right to control, or you reduce your rights to own firearms to the point where maybe one day we're going to be like the people in China, where we have to have all of our information put into a QR code and they track everything about it. And then maybe they decide something like this. Maybe they say, well, you know, there's certain races in America that we consider to be domestic terrorists. That's what Democrats were talking about just a few weeks ago in Congress when they were saying that white supremacy is domestic terrorism and the biggest threat to America today. No, you don't want to know what the biggest threat to America today? The federal government. That is the biggest threat because they are completely doing everything they can to run our country into the ground.
Did she forget she works for the federal government? She's a federal
Wasn't
government.
that Amber Turd's high school buddy?
Lord. Like, these politicians forget, like, when they complain about things not getting done in Congress and forget that they're in Congress. Like, you're sitting here saying the federal government wants to control your whole life while currently employed by the federal government and running for re-election to keep said position in the
She doesn't speak, well, she's never acted like a so-called lawmaker. So it's no surprise. Like I said, she's, just look at where she ran and where she moved to re-elect. I mean, she moved to get reelected.
She moved to get elected.
Literally came real close to not getting on the ballot again.
But real quick, we're going to hold y'all a little bit past our 1 hour mark because I want to get these 3 stories out because I really want to hear Chris's take on it. We're going to go through the Curry parents post-divorce dating, Herschel Walker's secret child, and then we're going to get into this Boebert thing. Everything else, I hate to keep doing this to y'all, but so much stuff here lately, like everything seems to be dropping. As the temperatures are rising, as Nelly would say, it's getting hot in her.
But
there's
Joe is staying ice cold.
Yeah, and do not forget that tomorrow we're having a part 2 to the monthly men's health chat because we ran out of time last week. But let's get into the Curry parents because y'all, when I saw this, I was, oh baby, this is more juicy than any telenovela I've ever seen in his soap opera. Just watch, y'all.
Steph Curry's divorced parents are in the midst of one of the wildest relationship scenarios I've ever seen. Last night, Del Curry was at the Celtics-Warriors NBA Finals game with his new girlfriend. Back in November of 2021, Del and Sonia, Steph's mother, got a divorce. Last night, they were both at the Celtics-Warriors game with their new boo thing. And then somebody tweeted out why Del Curry's new boo and Sonia's new man look like they used to be married to each other. And then thanks to the power of social media, a joke turned into reality, and it looks as if these two were married to each other. Here's another photo of them. I mean, this is peak this league drama. There has to be some wild story here because I know for sure this isn't a coincidence. Either Del or Sonia started dating one of these two first, and then the other said, you know what? I'm going to date them too. And for all this to happen during the NBA Finals, crazy world we live in.
But let's not even the divorce happened is because Sonia, the mother, was cheating on the husband. So we know who started dating who first. And Dale was like, oh, you gonna date her, man? This is giving Shania Twain vibes. Some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not. Some of y'all may have, not been old enough to remember when Shania Twain was getting cheated on.
I wasn't old enough.
Her husband back then was messing around with her then best friend. Well, they ran off together. The best friend's husband and Shania were both heartbroken, and they had been friends too, and they were trying to console each other, and in the midst of consoling each other, they done fell in love, and now they done had a glorious relationship since then. Now, I don't know what happened to the best friend and the ex-husband, because we ain't heard nothing from them, so I don't even know if they still together, but that is what it is giving me. That's what I'm feeling like.
Stella Curry got groove back.
That's why, you know what? This is why I try not to joke about stuff like that. Like, oh, they look related, or oh, they look, because earlier today, I saw LaVidya.
Well, we hear about things where couples break up and they start dating other people that they associate with or within the circles.
Well, see, I saw a video earlier. I was in the midst of 2 meetings, and you know me, I cannot start a project knowing that I have a meeting coming up because I will miss the meeting. I get very hyper focused. And I made a comment. Why did the person that the post was about, and no names were mentioned, comment back to me? And I was like, see, this is why I should just watch this stuff and keep it moving. The moment that I comment, why do folks always want to confess to me? But let's get on to Herschel Walker. Mr. Family First, even though he tried to kill the first family.
Mr. Old Pride of Georgia.
Woo, Lord. Wow. Just watch this,
y'all.
Been a
long time since he played football.
But this a dude, evidently he was playing with more than just footballs. He's
trying to run. He's trying to run on that old heroic days of old.
Ow!
I don't get it, but the great Raphael Warnock, Reverend.
Yep. Well,
we got
here
you.
we go.
We got
Y'all.
We got you.
Yep. Here we go.
Honey, they done found out Herschel Walker has a secret son. This man that has been pro 2-parent household and has been bashing absentee fathers and an absentee father himself. Damn.
So he has one son that's terrified of him, that he tried to kill his mama multiple times, and now he got a love child he ain't taken care of.
But somehow he out there promoting the good dads out there, being a good dad and being the good father.
He got his son, Christian Walker, out here trying to condemn the Black community, saying that we grow up without fathers. Well, evidently you got a half brother that grew up without your daddy.
He's trying to run some of that blueprint. As long as you talk about the Lord, those on the right think that you're a Christian. So he's trying to work on that blueprint that they're doing to try and somehow, I don't know, get certain white Christian to say, well, at least he's not over there on the left. I don't know, because he's not an example of it. I mean, he's as much of an example as Dr. Oz is. So I don't know, because we know Dr. Oz, he berated all his emergency room workers and everything else. He is not a nice guy. So we're talking about people that are definitely working on a blueprint that the right is running for all their candidates, whether they're Trump endorsed or not. They've got their blueprint.
Okay. Now, this next series, there's going to be a series of videos because this has to do with Loren Boebert. At the end of them,
yogurt.
At the end of them, we'll come back and talk. But I'm gonna pull me and Chris out of the stream because I really need y'all to really focus on each one of these videos. Because there's a lot of go potty if you need to. It's a lot of information. I need y'all to focus on it because I'm gonna run through them and then we're gonna our thoughts on it.
Hey, I can't. It's ginger night. It's ginger night. Come on.
It's always a party. Here we go.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
I know. Here we go.
Heads up, some interesting allegations have been made against Loren Boebert, but at this point they're yet to be confirmed. They do seem to fit her MO, however, so I'm just saying that if they do turn out to be substantiated, it's not gonna shock me. Allegedly, Boebert had a couple abortions while working as a prostitute, which is how she met Ted Cruz, who bankrolled her transition into politics. Now, if this turns out to be true, I for one want to know what pitch Cruz used to convince Boebert to change professions. Personally, I imagine it sounded something like this. I see that you enjoy f***ing people for money. Might I suggest a job where you can continue doing that, but with better drugs? We'll trade in your meth for cocaine, and all you have to do is keep people angry on Twitter and repeat everything that we say, because we could always use a potential fall guy in case we needed, fresh blood in the Republican Party.
Well, I'm just realizing I haven't done this in a while. Here we go! The American Muckrakers PAC, the group responsible for fucking up Madison Cawthorn have officially begun their campaign against Bobo. They have written to the Colorado Attorney General urging an investigation into Bobo's bullshit, and they brought the receipts. It has been confirmed that an interagency group is investigating the instances I'm about to discuss. Apparently, she has been using campaign finances to pay off tax liens at her diarrhea hole of a restaurant, but the next one is what made me laugh. Her campaign cashed 2 checks for reimbursement on mileage totaling $22,259, but that would have worked out to 38,712 miles. The circumference of the entire Earth is 24,901 miles.
Republican representative from Colorado, Loren Boebert, is responding to claims that not only was she a prostitute, but she also had several abortions. Now, she is really fighting hard to fight these claims. However, these claims are coming from a very reliable source with receipts, and it gets a lot worse. So the Political Action Committee, American Muckrakers, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the organization or political action committee that released all that previous information on Madison Cawthorn, you know, where he was wearing lingerie and jumping up and down on his friends. And so they now are releasing information on Loren Boebert. And they're basically saying that she actually previously was a sex worker. And they're releasing details about her struggling times back in 2019. And there's actually one person that she owes a lot of gratitude towards. So back in 2019, there was some transaction that went down between Loren Boebert, who wasn't in Congress, but was struggling to make ends meet, her financial records show. And it shows that in order for her to make ends meet, she would do stuff on the side, such as this. And those records also show that Ted Cruz actually booked Loren Boebert. But then, after meeting Loren, Ted did a remarkable thing and told her to go into politics. I guess she had something that said that she should go into politics.
Twitter is a gold mine today, okay? She just tweeted this out this morning. Let's send a clear message to the left about their horrible policies. Vote for me today in the Colorado primary. Thank you for your support. The response is, you have seen some of them, I'm sure, but here we go. You've all seen this one. Good old Ted Cruz tweeting this out a while back. Drill, baby, drill. This has been a popular one. Yeah, this has been a popular one. Oh my God, you guys. Ted Cruz. I'm sure we've all seen this one. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh my God. Oh my God. Who did this? Little collage. Someone put together a little collage. Yeah. It just goes on and on, you guys. Like, on and on and on and on and on. I mean, should someone really do this on that sign? I mean, it would be kind of funny. I mean, it's continuous. I can't stop. I can't stop. Oh my God. Okay, I'm done. This is it. I'm done. Have a great day.
This is a clip of a Republican representative calling out Loren Boebert for tweeting their location to the angry MAGA J6 mob.
Is it true that you were live tweeting from the floor our location to people on the outside as we were being attacked, Loren?
Yes, those tweets did go out, and that was something that was live and public information that was broadcast live from.
So don't ask us about security if you're telling the attackers where we're at. I yield back.
So that was something that was being broadcast live from C-SPAN, and once we were on the move, there was absolutely nothing else that was broadcast.
So behind closed doors, the Republicans are blaming Loren Boebert for exposing their location to the violent Trump supporters. Yet, in public, they've spent the last year blaming Democrats and Nancy Pelosi for failing to instate proper security measures, even though we know that Donald Trump failed to deploy the National Guard because he was too busy enjoying watching the attack unfold. And by the way, Loren Boebert is not out of the woods just yet. She gave recon tours of the Capitol a week prior to January 6th, which will be revealed in the upcoming hearings. And by the way, the hearings begin tomorrow yet again.
The little Twitter trolls, they like to say, oh, Jesus didn't need an AR-15. How many AR-15s do you think Jesus would have had? Well, he didn't have enough to keep his government from killing him. So...
Two things about this video. Number one, of course, Loren's words are absolute trash. We all know that. But number two, this was said at a church to a round of applause. Yes, white evangelical churches are inviting people like Loren to espouse Christian nationalist dogma even as they desecrate one of the most sacred parts of the Christian tradition. The idea, the concept, the story that Jesus willingly gave up his life for the sake of the other. Because ultimately Christian nationalism is not concerned about a deep, robust theology that wrestles through the hard questions while being in touch with the historic Christian tradition. They are concerned about how they remake America in their image on a political level, which really comes down to authoritarianism and fascism. So make no mistake, while Christian nationalism is a Christian strand, it is one of the most dangerous strands that we've ever seen in our lifetime because it's not concerned about the actual way of Jesus. It's concerned about remaking that way of Jesus in their own image.
Yeah, so I looked into this a little bit more and I'll just share this. So this is a conversation between someone associated with the PAC and someone that knows Boebert intimately. Basically says, I'm sorry, I would really love to help, scared of her and her husband talking about Boebert. Then goes on to state, I will tell you that she had one abortion in Greenwood Springs at the Planned Parenthood office and another one in Grand Junction, the first one when she was 17 and the second one when she was working on the side as a paid date on site called Sugar Baby. She was stripping at the time also. They had a meth drug problem at the time. Can you accept? And then they're asking about accessing the medical record. Then it asks, where was she stripping? We heard that Jason was dealing drugs, her husband. Do you know the actual Sugar Baby website? And she said, yes, Jason was. Yes, I have photos from the actual site. I will send it. Let me get that now. This is one of them. This site was one of them. Sugar Daddy Meets. There was another one also. I will find it in the morning. On the site is where she met a client from Aspen who introduced her to Ted Cruz. The client Aspen was a Koch family member. The Ted Cruz then donated $75,000 into her campaign. And it's talking about if we could get the name, do you know when and where? So this is also verified. Cruz gave Loren Boebert $70,500 on the same day that he asked the DOJ to probe Netflix for alleged child porn. So didn't disclose fundraising. Apparently this information came from Loren's mother. They had met at a private home in Aspen. It goes on to talk about Ted Cruz is why she spent so much time in Texas. Money, big money. They go on to talk about how she's a horrible person. Ted Cruz thing is a big connection that came from the Kochs. And then just asking more about the sugardaddy.com, the whole, connection here. And apparently she was doing all this to save her business that was on the brink of bankruptcy, and she started to do this stuff on the side. She called it pay for play. It was her words exactly, apparently. And there may be recordings, which, please. Then the person's asking, why would Ted Cruz put money into a paid escort that didn't even have a high school diploma? And basically this person believes that she was blackmailing Ted Cruz. Now, obviously, I hope that these recordings come out. I'm sure they will. I hope some more information on this Sugar Daddy website comes out because, the internet is forever. However, the donations from Ted Cruz that have been verified make this story pretty relevant. And I hope that it stays at the forefront and she gets burned by her party like Madison did.
Every time Ted Cruz makes an announcement, he always includes his wife Heidi. He'll say, my wife Heidi and I, blah, 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 blah. But if this bombshell involving him and Loren Boebert is true, I expect there to be an announcement, my wife Heidi and I are splitting up. Please respect our privacy during this difficult time.
How about that?
At what I have running across the screen, I'm giving you the link because this is pretty lengthy. It's pretty lengthy. But let me just read you this. It says, read our press release on Loren Boebert's escort career and abortions. For immediate release, Representative Loren Boebert was an unlicensed paid escort with SugarDaddyMeat.com and had 2 abortions. Boebert met Senator Ted Cruz in Aspen through introduction by the Koch family member and client. Boebert had an abortion at Planned Parenthood in Glenwood Spring, Colorado, due to her work with SugarDaddyMeat.com. So not only was she an escort, she was a nasty escort. She just, like, you're not using any type of prophylactic, honey. But I mean, she did get her GED right before she got sworn in. But
she's from the same school of Marjorie Green.
well, they used to be besties until Marjorie went down the QAnon hole, and we're learning that Loren isn't going down the hole. She's letting people go down her hole. And I would love for Rafael Cruz to explain to us.
She caught something while on a hayride.
Because Rafael, Ted Cruz's wife, is a businesswoman. She's no dummy. She's put up with Cruz allowing Trump to disrespect her and demean her, all sorts of stuff. This might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't know.
I mean, we all remember what Trump said and did, not just old Teddy, but the whole family.
And here also is the thing. Ted originally booked Loren Boebert to be her client. At some point during this meeting, he convinced her to get into politics. That's the caveat that needs explaining. And the fact that it has been confirmed that the only reason she got into politics and was able to get into politics was that donation that came to her from him and her business, that the only reason it's kind of taken off and people are even saying, hey, just go because you can carry your guns in the restaurant. They're telling people not to eat the food because you get sick from eating the food. To save her restaurant, this woman was turning tricks to pay the bills.
Maybe old Teddy told her, look, you're lying about being good as an escort. You might as well lie and do politics. Because she fit right in on that side of the fence. Because she apparently, sugar daddy, whatever, she was not bringing them in. And when she was sloppy.
Very much so. Final thoughts on the night?
She couldn't even get a spot next to Jabba.
Poor child. And real quick, I moved the bottle out of the way, and I know certain people like to watch my show. These are the calming pills for my dog, y'all. Calm down.
It's called the calming pills. Urbane. That the calming pills was hey, Urbane, why don't you go see what the yard's like outside?
Link, you got jokes. Makes you wonder if she ever washed her hand. I don't think she washes her body, let alone her hands.
She do what they call the pigeon bath.
Woo! She definitely doing the whole bath. Like,
yeah.
And as someone,
a little splash.
Because there are countries that being an escort is completely legal. For years, I ran the website for 3 escort services coming out of the UK. And actually, these women were encouraged not to have sex or sexual relations with the clients. They were there for like CEOs and stuff. So one could have somebody to talk to, 2 to have somebody to travel with so that they could make their Instagram look good at the time. 3 for corporate events. So, they could have a +1. Because in the corporate world, it does look better when you look attached or look like a family man or a family woman.
Not like a Boebert.
Yeah, and she's on.
I don't know if you want Boebert to be. I don't think you want Boebert to be in the pictures to show at the.
Don't call her an escort. Some of y'all, I had an account that I went live on, and I told y'all the story, and I even talked about it a little bit on this show. And if you want a full story time about it, I will contact my best friend and we will talk about it. We did an experiment with 2 sugar daddy websites. First of all, Miss Loren Boebert, you could have made a killing. Well, if you were smarter,
It'd have been good. She had to be good
without
at first.
ever having sex with anybody, and in some instances, ever actually meeting up with them. A lot of them are just lonely people who really want somebody to talk to, but they're awkward. They're socially awkward. Or they've been taught to believe that they have to pay for attention.
They thought she was free, like at a truck stop. Maybe she would have been good at one of them pilots truck stops.
Link, Justin Trudeau can't take him back because he relinquished his Canadian citizenship, and yet he still keeps trying to run for the presidency of the United States. But if you look at, you know what, that's a conversation for another day. But like I said, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I know Jan 6 is going still. I hope everybody is keeping up on that because the stuff is rolling out quicker than somebody out of Boebert's room. But outside of that, follow Jan 6 and of course follow Obi-Wan. If you already haven't seen the Stranger Things, of course, that's a must. There's a lot of good stuff going on right now. So between streaming and January 6th, we got some good stuff out there. And that's not even including Boebert and the Terrible Six or whatever they might be called out there with Marjorie and them.
I think they're the new Six. Look, Clifford.
Or the new Hateful Eight 2.0. That's all I got.
I guess Urbane is over.
Urbane, what do you got? Oh,
he's over my shit, and he keeps getting bigger. He wants
some of those
as my son said, he is Clifford the big polka dot dog. But I really don't have any final thoughts tonight because I'm still reeling from everything. But everything that we did not cover tonight, I will get to tomorrow. I'm gonna have to deliver you all a pre-recorded broadcast. I'm going to do my best because I do have a big conference that I have to be a part of at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to try to get it out within.
Is that on Commonwealth time?
Yeah. I'm going to try to do 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to have it completely done and out to you all tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to do my best.
Awesome.
Bear with me.
You do your best.
Later, but also keep in mind, we're going to continue the men's health discussion tomorrow. So as always, bring a friend, sit down and chill. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you get notifications immediately for anything that comes up. Is my cousin still trolling me in the comment? Jesus, he is.
Bye, everybody.
So that is tonight's show. As always, thank you for joining us. And each one teach one, each one reach one. And I'm about to go snitch on my cousin. I'm telling. I am telling. But till next time, y'all.
Bye.
Greg Abbott has been running for political office for 3 decades. Back then, Roger Clemens was winning Cy Young. The Texans didn't exist. Mark Zuckerberg was in 6th grade, and Amazon was a river. The world has changed, but Greg Abbott hasn't. After 3 decades, he has no solutions for a power grid that fails. More Texans have died in mass shootings while Abbott is governor than any governor in Texas history. Under Greg Abbott, a woman who is raped has less rights than her rapist. When children are slaughtered in school, his answer is, "It could have been worse." Maybe you voted for Greg Abbott before, but we don't accept failure in Texas. We don't think okay is okay. It's time to retire Greg Abbott.
The Lincoln Project paid for